If you do appoint a Southgate, for instance, you don't understand football. Then you're not the right managers for the club. Southgate, come on. This is a slap in the face. This is humiliation 2.0, even 10 on a Richter scale.
Has the Premier League ever been more challenging?
Right, well, I feel welcome. Dit is my home and I want to achieve success. Okay.
Good morning, Manchester United fans all around the world. Is it a time to be worried regarding the INEOS revolution? Have we seen enough evidence to actually trust and support them? What's going on at the moment? It is a little bit of a shambles. This is just my take on it. This is my say. And this is how I feel, a little bit worrying sign regarding the manager situation and the strategical review. So bear with me if you care about this club. Glazers are still around, and you know, we used to call them Ocean's 11 because they were robbers. But is it that they just recruited a Ocean's 11-12 in Sir Jim Ratcliffe INEOS? I mean, just because in a way you bought yourself in on 25% and a minority investor doesn't really mean that you have the right footballing knowledge. Sure, you can look at Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Nice operation with OG Nice, 5 years, non-successful. They've been sacking 5 different managers and still clueless what they want to do. Latest reports also coming out, they are looking to sell OG Nice for certain reasons. And they got the price of the crown jewel, which is Manchester United, and so far it's been a lot of smoke, but there is no real fire. You know, you can applaud it to a certain extent that you could believe that they are doing the right thing in appointing the right people in place. A new CEO in terms of Omar Berrada, what people call best in class from the City Group. Fantastic. Jason Wilcox acting now, doing triple roles. His original role is technical director, overseeing the style of play and being the bridge over to the academy, but he's now also acting as a head of recruitment while we're waiting for Dan Ashworth. They're still sitting in stock in court of arbitration because of dispute of his garden leave with Newcastle. So when he's going to come, and what is the links with Southgate? Apparently reports are saying that Ashworth is the one pushing for Southgate and Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Dale Brailsford. I mean, I'm shocked on a serious note. I mean, if you are Dan Ashworth, at least you would understand football and you would understand that, you know, the links to Southgate, it is ludicrous, right? I do understand that Brailsford is a cycling expert, and, you know, I think that Sir Jim is just a fan, right? He likes football, but he hasn't really followed football lately, because if he have done so, if he's rightly followed Manchester United, he should have a finger on the pulse, what the fans are thinking. If you now are serious appointing the best in class people, what the hell are you thinking are linking us to Gareth Southgate? Southgate hasn't really managed the club. I mean, the last time he managed the club was back in 15 years ago when he actually got Middlesbrough relegated. And evidently enough, you're running this like a shambles club. You know, the message you're sending out to fans and to the media is laughable. Perhaps it's deliberately PR planned for whatever you're planning to do. But the honeymoon period is over. And this summer you have a potential to win the fan base over, as what you did when you actually announced to the club that you gotta, you know, take Manchester back to winning trophies. You're going to optimize everything. You're going to appoint the right people. You're sacking a lot of people within the club, but it's not good enough. It's not serious, right? Reports coming out to say that, you know, you've been interviewing a lot of managers while you're keeping Ten Hag strong along. Either you have a serious intent to say, Ten Hag is our guy, we will back him. And why are you then going out to interview 4 different managers and saying that you are having Wilcox to develop a style of play? Like, well, listen, those 4 different managers that we are talking about, De Zerbi, Poch, Thomas Tuchel, that just rejected you, they have different styles of play, so it doesn't really matter, right? Now, Tuchel apparently rejected, or what's been PR spin, that he was pushing for a meeting to meet with you guys to understand the project, right? You might thought that he might be high on the priority of list, but as soon as you explain what the project was all about, he probably got cold feet and cold turkey and said, no, thank you. And I'm curious to understand what that is. And I have a suspicion that Manchester United at the moment will not spend anything in this summer. Everything that you've been put out is Glazonomics, is PR spin, saying that we're going to be linked to this player, to that player. On the other hand, I think it's Dodgy Dave, marginal improvement, looking the strategical review. We have good players on the squad. How can we optimize this, and how can the manager get the best out of them without us spending? Because the debt is still there. We are broke. Even if you pumped in your money, what you did back on Christmas Eve was just help out your friends, the Ocean's 11, to get a little bit of a 1.2 billion in their pocket. And what's next? Trust is hard earned, my friends. Trust is hard earned. I mean, maybe it's too early, but the signs are there. It's very, very, very worrying, right? I don't think we're going to see any signings until July 1st, and it's not going to be those big signings that we are linked to. It's going to be some unknown quantity. And I think that the majority of the year one for INEOS is to focus pretty much to build the backroom staff, to get the best in people in class first, and then look at the football. So either if they keep Ten Hag, I have a feeling that the plan is always to build a new team around the youth, right? You see, the recruitment strategy is not to overpay, not over 60 million euros on the market and just go for players that it's got 1 year left on the contracts, or contracts is about to expire. And you know what? Forget about it. We are not going to get a João Neves if you think so. Even if they wanted to spend, I think that the original plan was to speak to people to see how we can actually get back Jadon Sancho, Mason Greenwood, get the best out of Rashford, and look at managers that is a puppet, that is a yes man. Because the new strategy is simple, right? You just have a head coach that will just take the orders. They will do everything for you, all the heavy lifting. They will just give you the players and you coach them, right? The strategical review is not working, and it's an endless pit. He leaves a very damaging report out in the media, making out a meal of it. But the ones that are suffering are the match-going fans and the fans all around the world that supports this club. Surely you got to do the right thing. Surely you cannot just go and not spend anything in this summer and just expect that fans will swallow it. If you do appoint a Southgate, for instance, you don't understand football. Then you're not the right managers for the club. Southgate, come on. This is a slap in the face. This is humiliation 2.0, even 10 on a Richter scale. I've seen a lot of questions, what would you do if they do hire Southgate in December? What if the plan is to, we give Ten Hag this end of the season, we'll do what we did in January, we'll not back him, play with what you got, right? Optimizing the squad, integrate a couple of youngsters from the academy, 5 or 4, and just basically get 1 or 2 signings just to fill the gaps, like in centre-back's position, and that's about it. That is pretty much setting up for failure. And if he doesn't perform well, then they're going to fizz him out, because that's not going to affect them on the, the new PSR rules or the new physical year. Because let's face it, July 1st is the start of a new physical year. So that's why they don't want to spend anything or do anything. And that's pretty much why you've probably seen also Dan Ashford being held in contempt, because they don't want to pay, right? The books are so fined and damaged, so you have to wait till the July 1st to actually do anything, because that's a new physical year. So anything that you put in that books will be a positive for the club and yourself, but not for the fans. We fans would just want to win trophies. We fans would just be looking at how we're going to play next season. We're going to be entertained. We want to win shit, right? We're tired of waiting for 11 years for not winning a Premier League. And if you're going to continue on this rate, it's going to take another 5 years to even win a Premier League title. If you sack Ten Hag now, make a statement of intent that you're going to do so, but don't let the guy hanging it's like it's like you're going out on this date and you're looking to aim to get this 10-point blunder, like, you know, that everyone is chasing the skirt off, and she's seeing a lot of suitors, and you know, plucking your feathers like a peacock and thinking that, yeah, I got a chance, so I'm going to speak to her. But in the meantime, I keep in my plan B, the one that I'm shagging on reserve, just to keep hanging there, just in case the blondie rejects me. I still go back to my comfort zone. That's not the way it's going to work. I'm sorry, this is not news. This is just a worrying sign for myself, a rant in a way. If you do understand football, INEOS people, then don't get Southgate, please. I've been speaking to a lot of people and players' agents, and they've been saying the same thing. This is kind of what they've been hearing or believing, that it might be a Southgate at the end of the Euros. Southgate has got what? His contract expiring in November. Makes pretty much sense what they're planning to do, right? De Zerbi, he's the only potential candidate, or what they might say, we're speaking to a person that is non-attendable, that media has non-links to. For fuck's sake, in that case, if you're planning to get rid of Ten Hag, then Southgate is not the answer. That's a downgrade. That is like going from a Mercedes to Skoda. No disrespect for a Skoda, but you know what? If you're gonna replace Ten Hag, go and get somebody that is even better, like a Pep Guardiola, or like a Xabi Alonso, like even an Edin Terzic from Borussia Dortmund that came second in the Champions League will do, right? But not on this state. You got to go out now to convince fans that you're not Ocean's 12, that you're not part of the Glazer group, right? Which you certainly are. Your best mates, you're sitting there on the board. But I said it from the beginning in the January when the takeover was, like, I'm going to scrutinize this. If your plan is to rob us blind again, think twice. 1958, the Mufc group, everyone, you need to stand up as well. Need to protest. Honest to God, right? If you're not going to spend anything in summer and think you're going to get away with it, like a free pass, think twice. If you're appointing Southgate as a manager, you will lose a lot of revenues. Think 3 times, you know? I believe that if you appoint Southgate as your manager, you would see a massive drop of fans following you, right? I even contemplating myself to stop doing content for Manchester United if you're appointing Southgate, because that is to slap you with another cancer. Seriously. I know it's hard for a lot of you people to swallow. I hope to God this rumors is just a hoax. And I'm just here to spread awareness, to spread my opinions. At the end of the day, leave your comment what you think. Would you support Manchester United if they certainly magically say, well, look at Southgate? I don't think so. It's a worrying sign, peeps. You have a divided camp. People you appoint people that understands football. Makes sense, right? You go for an Omar Berrada, you go for Jason Wilcox, and you go for Dan Ashworth. They're footballing people. But the rest, cycling experts, marginal expense, a super fan to Sir Alex Ferguson, bought the club or invested 27% just to sit there and wine and dine with Sir Alex to be his biggest fanboy. It's not going to cop the mustard. I said it before. The more chefs, the better, the worse soup, right? If you're a Chef Ramsay, you would just scream at the kitchen like, you know, get out of my kitchen. I just want to be optimized. I just want to get perfect ingredients, put it in the soup, and let's wine and dine. Guys, let me know in the thoughts in the comments below. I certainly am very pissed off what's going on behind the scenes. This is not what I expected. This is not what I signed up for. The proof will be in the pudding. Maybe it's too early, but what's coming out in the ether does not look good. And as a fans, it's our duty to put pressure on. Remember, Glazers out and glory, glory Manchester United. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and please always welcome to Realist TV to have your say. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching MUFC Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.